How should an investor or folks like us who manage portfolios think about allocating to factors? What are some of the one, two, three rules that you say, okay, if I'm doing this, this is this, and this? Because it sounds wonderful, but on the other hand, you peel away like an onion. There are more complexity as you go through because it's number one, it gets less and less well defined as you go down.
Correct. Correct.
And I don't know if most investors are going to go in and say, okay, your value is different than
Yeah,
his and hers. And
and I prefer this definition to that definition.
how would I know which I prefer? So talk to us a little bit about how you will slay this dragon in some way. How do you do this?
I'll walk you through how we think about it because I think you've just articulated the challenge. One of the challenges of factor investing, these factors, while maybe we have a long journey or we have outperformance over a long period of time, that journey is going to include factors outperforming, underperforming, and it's very easy in a single factor sense to then say, oh, wow, this factor is not going to work anymore, and I'm going to abandon it. Exactly, maybe at the moment we shouldn't abandon the factor. And so
That never happened to me, though, John.
no,
Never.
I was talking about others, certainly not you.
Thank you. I just want to be clear. We have no behavior biases in this.
None of us do on this call. But I think that highlights one of the challenges for a financial advisor or an investment professional, let alone an individual investor. If factors start to go in and out of favor, wow, maybe they worked for the past 20 years, but are they going to work for the next 20? Do I have the conviction to stay with that volatility? Well, the industry has an answer for you. And the industry's answer is, well, Philip, just take all these factors and we'll just blend them together. And then you end up with something that maybe is just a watered down version of the market. And so the way that we came at this is to say we really want to express an opinion. We think that the journey to that outperformance is going to include looking different from that benchmark, and then looking at an opportunity set within, for example, large cap within the S&P 500, and saying let's look at multiple factors, but let's look at both sides of that factor where we see the most dispersion. And because we have this behavioral bias and we're all susceptible to it, we need to come up with some rules that will protect you from me, from my behavioral biases.
Yeah.
And then look and say, if we see certain trends in particular factors, can we own those factors when they're having a good trend? And then when the trend changes, can we move to other trends? That's what we intend to do. But there's trade-offs there. What that means is that when factors aren't trending, that type of an approach to factor investing can be susceptible to head fakes or whipsaws. When those factors are trend seeking.
Noise and there's no trend.
Right. And so there's no perfect way to do it, but a preferred way that we think is sustainable and we just have conviction around is looking at factors, a universe of factors, both sides of factors where we see dispersion, using rules to then adapt to their trends, changing trends, over time, being willing to look different and be opinionated. We think that's a recipe ultimately to having the potential to capture some outperformance. But what that requires, when we talked about it a little earlier, is that you might be out of favor, you might be underperforming, the benchmark for a certain period of time. Does the investor have the conviction to allow that process to do what it's designed to do?
That's always the $64 question: is the conviction. Yeah. Can you stay with it? Can you stick with it?
Can you live through it? It's great to have things that theoretically, look great over a decade, but can you actually live through how its normal characteristics?
So it sounds like, if I may say, that factor investing has proven itself to be a very worthwhile way to to be considered as part of investing.